Cameras are one of the most common things used by humans in remembering remarkable places and moments. And there are so many cases and circumstances that are able to prove how powerful cameras can get, such as capturing events that our bare eyes fail to see and situations that can only happen once in maybe a million years or so. Basically, a camera is something that could surprise us by delivering proof and evidence of various unexpected things that we thought were not possible to happen. And in this video, we'll be showing you a compilation of the unbelievable moments that cameras were able to catch. So brace yourselves, because the following events that you'll see in a few seconds are mostly about the strange and mysterious events that are hard to believe to have happened in real life. But first, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe with the notification bell to get more entertaining videos, just like this one. Pilot captures the eye of the storm. We all know how dangerous and powerful thunderstorms can be, that even kids and adults could not help but tremble in fear every time they hear the roaring thunder and see the flashes of lightning that goes along with it. But an amazing bold photographer by the name of Christian van HEIST was able to capture this rare, beautiful thunderstorm from the view above it. He was able to take such a perfect shot at 32,000 feet in the air. Well, it's obviously not something you'll get to see every day, isn't it? Dubai's extended city. The fact that this luxurious and highly progressive country, with all the humongous, colossal, and extravagant infrastructures, was only once a vast area of nothing but sand, is still fascinating and, let me admit, mind-blowing. This country was able to rise from a mere desert into a city with multiple skyscrapers that could just kiss the heavens without us knowing it. This aerial captured moment, where Dubai's skyrise buildings literally surpass the heights of clouds, is like showing that above Dubai is another city which is equally mesmerizing. Times Square as seen from heaven. Well, there are a lot of you who get sweaty hands and feet while you're in Ferris wheels or extremely high places. This insanely brave man just conquered the world as he sat with his feet dangling at the top of a skyscraper building above the New York Times Square. Jacob Riglin, as he was identified, surely just made many of you extremely uncomfortable with this angle of him looking down the beaming corners and vehicles from up above the buildings as if he is sitting in the highest part of the atmosphere. Chair floating in the middle of space. Flat earthers will definitely not like to see this unbelievable image that just might contradict their belief that the world is flat. This random chair floating in space, among other objects that were also seen floating for the past years, is literally just so random that nobody really knows what it's doing there and why there's a photograph of it. But the photo provides a clear shot of that glowing curve of the Earth that would put close to the argument that our world indeed is round. Image that seems to be taken from another planet. It takes a great amount of talent and skill, not only a high standard quality of a camera, to be able to capture photos that will leave the audience in great admiration. This photo of hot air balloons hovering over Turkey might just appear really ordinary at first glance, but if you take enough time to look at it closely, you'll be able to see that unlike any other hot air balloon shots, this particular image shows the camera was able to capture every detail of the subjects, from the foreground to horizon, in a very crispy, clear, colorful way, as if it was taken from some other world in space. MAMMATUS cloud. What are the odds that you can witness this strange phenomenon in your lifetime? Well, this person was literally under it while taking this shot, which I would say is one hell of a lucky person. MAMMATUS clouds might appear to be strange, but it's undeniably beautiful in a different kind of way, as you look and observe it in a longer span of time. This unbelievable moment gave us chills. Definitely a huge salute for both the photographer and the camera. Morning glory. While we're at the topic of strange cloud phenomena, here's another photo that's simply beyond belief. Morning glory does not only exist as terrestrial flowers, but there's one phenomenon that lives by the name as well. Taken in the Gulf of Carpentaria, Australia, the photographer himself was mesmerized by this cloud formation that seemed like a massive amount of smoke released by a train in a single trail. This moment captured by camera might just be the only one of its kind. Pearl clouds. Another cloud formation that you need to see to believe is this phenomenon called pearl clouds. Basically, you can compare it to oil or gasoline in puddles due to its colorful spreading of light that just can't be done by any other average or even stranger cloud formation. This occurrence is highly caused by the light scattering in the atmosphere. Just like how a rainbow appears, only that in a different way. The camera also did a great job in emphasizing the color partition and blends to make it appear as if it was a semi-abstract painting. Slim divide. Countries on almost every continent is divided by walls and fences to mark their individual territories. But what if your camera sees a different medium of border controls? This literal border between Belgium and the Netherlands is something that's just insanely overwhelming to look at. This was specifically captured at a cafe that is located both in Belgium and the Netherlands, since it sits right at the boundary of the two countries. You could basically enter Belgium through the entrance door and enter Netherlands through the exit door. So what are the odds of you being in two different places at the same time? Dementors? Last year, this particular photo featured a Zambian newspaper that would bring chills down your spine, especially if you're a fan of Harry Potter, because it showcased a figure similar to that of a Dementor. This image, though, has obviously been photoshopped. Too bad, but at the same time, it's quite a relief. And there you have it. The year, which marks the second decade of this century, particularly became a strange time for all of us around the globe, most especially towards the global economy. Many of the long-established brands and businesses have faced severe hits since the onset of the pandemic, from cars to watches to clothing and leather goods. Everyone in the business industry were left with no choice but to tweak their strategies for operations to be able to survive this tragic times. But, as what Thomas Monson said in his discourse regarding the pathway to perfection, our most significant opportunities will be found in times of greatest difficulty. And truly, many luxury brands were able to find opportunities to keep their industry still and sturdy, despite the fluctuation of supply and demand around the globe. Here is a list of the top 10 luxury brands who have managed to stand the test of time and keep their position amongst the top all over the world. Number 10. PRADA. This brand might be sitting at the 10th spot as of now, but PRADA is daringly good in making surprises. Since its official kickoff, the Italian luxury fashion house always thinks outside of the box and doesn't produce designs that are based on prediction and trends. Thus, it has long been focusing on its forte: travel bags, accessories, and leather fashion items such as bags, wallets, purses, clutches, shoes, and belts, among others, which it takes pride. Prada was established in Milan, Italy in 1913 by its respectable founder, Mario Prada. Number 9. Burberry. A fashion abode that stands 9th in this list and sits in the grand alleys of London is Burberry, a British luxury fashion brand founded in the year 1856 by Thomas Burberry. This brand was originally designed to produce clothing that could protect people from the cold British weather. It's prominently known for its distinctive British identity through its traditional woven pattern and slick tailoring, which makes it unique among other top brands. If you're wearing a Burberry, anyone 6 meters away from you would definitely know. Burberry mainly gives focus on designing and production of ready-to-wear items, bags, trench coats, perfumes, and cosmetics. Number 8. Yves Saint Laurent. Right at the 8th spot is a French brand that you would rather prefer to call as YSL. It was founded by Yves Saint Laurent himself and his partner in 1961. This luxurious fashion house is still considered as one of the most prominent fashion houses around the globe for its timely and iconic pieces. YSL exemplifies youth culture in its haute couture, leather goods, and accessories, among others, and continues to emphasize gender liquidity through their perfect choice of utilizing gender-neutral colors and simple yet classic techniques and styles that are vehemently cool, with a touch of rebellion and rowdy luxury. Number 7. Dior. Established in 1946, this European luxury goods company was a brainchild of the French designer Christian Dior, although it is now managed by Bernard Arnault, a French businessman who is now also the head of Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. Dior has been known for its high-end couture, bags, accessories, fragrances, and many more fashion items you could think of. The fashion house's sophisticated and ultra-modern style that's shouting with confidence and class clings to a formal and minimalist approach. Although Dior has introduced a slim silhouette characteristic, it continues to challenge trends and conventions. Number 6. Cartier. Perhaps nobody cannot like shining, shimmering, and splendid pieces and ornaments that could totally transform one's physical appearance. Maybe that's the reason why Cartier stands strong at the 6th spot on the list. In 1847, this famous French luxury goods conglomerate was founded in Paris by Louis-François Cartier himself and has continued to escalate its influence ever since. The brand earned its status of being the jeweler of kings and king among jewelers by being the instigator of the combination of platinum and diamonds. The company embraced the idea of designing, manufacturing, distributing, and selling not only jewelry of all kinds, but also watches. Number 5. Rolex. If there is an arguably famous, most coveted, and most recognized luxury watch brand around the globe, especially to all the baby boomers, that would be Rolex. Founded by Hans Wilsdorf in 1905, the Geneva-based Swiss brand rapidly jumped to that level of being one of the most revered watch manufacturers, and since then has always been leading the luxury watch industry. Number 4. Gucci. If there's anything else that you would love to discover about the humble land of Florence, Tuscany, aside from being the birthplace of Renaissance, then you'll be ecstatic to know that in 1921, it was the very birthplace of Guccio Gucci. It's in this very place where Guccio Gucci established a brand that followed his namesake, Gucci. The Italian fashion label, now sitting in the 4th spot on our list, is not only one of the original luxury brands, but also one of those leading sources of some of the most iconic trends in the fashion industry. It's best known for its extravagant and luxurious choice of textiles, which continues to redefine fashion fit for the contemporary style. The brand is famous for its couture and accessories, especially bags. Number 3. Hermes. Garnering the 3rd spot, still coming from the fashion capital of the world, this French fashion house established in the year 1837 by Hermes himself, continues to make sure that the competition that exists in the fashion industry will not be as easy as 1, 2, 3. Hermes, specializing in leather goods, accessories, fragrances, and ready-to-wear clothing, is firm in offering elegant and quite traditional styles. Among all other products, their leather goods contribute an extremely high portion to the company's annual revenue. Number 2. Chanel. A notable French label that is popularly known for women, famous for its little black dress, and specializing in haute couture, handbags, accessories, and fragrances, Chanel occupies the 2nd spot on this list. Founded in 1910 by the French native Coco Chanel in Paris, France, this fashion abode strives to make sure that every woman who wears their brand is comfortable and proud. Chanel has been leading in digital luxury across platforms. Number 1. Louis Vuitton. Another luxurious famous brand roots from the fashion capital of the world and stands first in this list. Established by Louis Vuitton in the year 1854, LVM has been successful in keeping its position on top, with a brand value of $32.223 billion. This French fashion house continues to be the best in terms of designing, manufacturing, distributing, and selling bags and luggage, which they are best known for. LVM continues to expand its range of products to watches, shoes, ready-to-wear apparel, and other fashion items that they can confidently pull off. So what do you think of the top 10 luxury brands across the world? Which one was your favorite? Several things in this world have made us witness countless of times how small some of the things we regard as huge are. A 5-year-old kid might find a bicycle to be large enough to crush him. A 12-year-old child might be scared to be near a slow-moving bus due to its intimidating size. And this hierarchy just goes on and on. Just as how the American writer Willa Cather said, quote, "The world is little, people are little, human life is little. There is only one big thing, desire," end quote. And perhaps that desire, she meant, was what drove us humans to constantly build things that could ideally either accommodate or surpass every little thing that this world has to offer. So today, we're checking out the biggest vehicles created by humans. But first, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe with the notification bell for more interesting videos just like this one. NASA Crawler Transporter. Let's start off the video with NASA's Crawler Transporter. If you're wondering how massive it must be to make us choose it as a kickoff expose, just imagine the size of an average baseball field. Yup, that's how literally big this crawler is, but it's amazing how it can manage to achieve a top speed of 1 mile per hour when it's loaded and double that if it's unloaded. This crawler transporter's humongous size is reasonably enough though, considering that its main job is to carry and transport raw and finished material and equipment that are used by the agency as it continues to prepare for its return to the moon and expedition to Mars. I mean, surely no ordinary transporter could do the job better than this 50-year-old crawler. Badger 288. There's no way that the most gigantic among the family of bucket wheel excavators can be excluded in the list of the world's biggest and heaviest vehicles. Just imagine the total weight of over 8,600 cars piled up together. And yes, that's how heavy this excavator is. Its length and width might not be as huge as a baseball field, but its height can very well match the Statue of Liberty. This massive vehicle is making things easier in Garzweiler open pit lignite mine because the amount of 240,000 cubic meters of lignite that it can move in a day is equivalent to 10,000 dump truck loads. If we think about it, Garzweiler roughly needs a total of 40,000 workers to accomplish this much amount of work in a day. This Badger 288 literally is a savior to the company. Caterpillar 797B. This might sound really ironic, but our next colossal vehicle is unknowingly known as one of the largest mechanical dump trucks in the entire globe, a serious machine that is built for real-world tasks. The Caterpillar 797B, or also known as CAT 797B. But unless you work or take a visit in a mining site, you probably couldn't appreciate its size. Literally, an ultra-class mining truck, this giant single tire has a diameter of 13 feet, way more than enough to crush an average pickup truck. Hence, there's no way that this vehicle is allowed to be driven on the highway. This truck's width is at 30 feet and its length could be comparable to the distance of the NBA backboard up to 8 inches past half court, roughly around 47 feet and 8 inches in total. What's more epic about this truck is the fact that it can sustain a speed of 40 miles per hour despite its massive weight and size. Belaz 75710. If you think CAT 797B is humongous, then this large ultra-class haul truck originally from Belarus, hence its name, is living up to its reputation as the biggest dump truck in the world, capable of moving a load of 496 tons in just one go. The ferocious Belaz 75710. Ever wonder why it's named the biggest among its family? Just imagine the length of 2 double-decker buses parked end-to-end, with a power equivalent to 6 Formula One race cars, and a weight heavier than a fully loaded Airbus A380 passenger plane. And that's technically how huge and powerful it is. And unless you're at least 2 meters tall, don't bother trying to reach halfway up on one of its 8 tires. This truck is not labeled as the biggest in the world for nothing. ANTONOV AN225 MRIYA. If you think that the biggest vehicles only exist in land, well then you're wrong, because this vehicle next on our list solely functions to hop from one continent to another through air, the monstrous Antonov 225 MRIYA of Ukraine. The Soviets had been long acknowledged for constructing massive aircrafts, so MRIYA, or the Ukraine Dream, is totally not an exception. This vehicle is surprisingly not built to be a typical 5th-generation stealth fighter plane. Rather, it's a cargo plane designed as the largest one in the world. This beast is literally a badass, with its length of 84 meters, a massive weight of 285 tons while unloaded, a wingspan of 88.39 meters, and a cargo area sufficient enough to fit 50 cars altogether. Having an original mission in 1988 to carry the Buran shuttle and its super rocket, MRIYA continues to live as the only one of its kind. Liebherr T282B. This huge off-highway, ultra-class pull dump truck could definitely bring shivers down your spine if you get to stand next to it. Standing as the second largest capacity dump truck after Belaz 75710, Liebherr 282 can commensurate the size of an average 2-story house, stretching an estimated height of 25 feet, a width of 32 feet, and length of 50 feet. With this size, no wonder that it could haul 400 tons just in a single load setting. With this truck's suspension, you could figuratively picture out a T-Rex dinosaur when you hear this monstrous piece of machinery rumble at idle and feel the very power released through its nose. Given the overall size of Liebherr 282B, it could actually roll over a typical pickup truck and not even know it. But unless you're driving your pickup truck in a mining site, then you don't need to worry. Hitachi X8006. Hitachi is known to be constantly stepping up its game, most especially in terms of machinery. No wonder how the second largest hydraulic excavator in the world is produced by them. The Hitachi X8006, wearing the brand's signature color, Hitachi Red, stands proud in its glorious weight of 811 tons. This excavator has a length of 10.5 meters, an undercarriage approximately 8.65 meters long, and has a digging reach of roughly 7 times of an NBA ring height. Its shovel can load up a volume of 40 cubic meters in a single scoop, saving crazy amounts of time as compared to using an average excavator. With this enormous vehicle, heavy and difficult jobs are certainly not in its vocabulary. T-Rex Buckaroos RH400. While creating this list in an unordered manner, I bet that all of us could agree that this vehicle featured in our final entry deserves to be part of this list. Owned by one of the top leading producers of giant land vehicles, the Buckaroo's RH400 remains undefeated as the world's biggest hydraulic excavator. Kudos to Caterpillar. This gigantic front shovel pressure-driven excavator approximately weighs 889 tons, has an undercarriage width of 8.6 meters, and its crawler length is roughly 10.98 meters. Its bucket is so large that it can hold a good amount of 45 cubic meters of rock and boulders in a single scoop. Now, we could probably say that there's no job too big for this vehicle. So what do you think of the world's biggest vehicles created by humans? Which one of these humongous vehicles would you love to ride in? If you had hundreds and millions of dollars in your bank account, how would you spend it? Maybe most of you might use it to buy an extravagant mansion on a private island, a massive car collection, or maybe fill your vast closet with designer clothes, perfume, and shoes, mainly because this is how typical wealthy individuals normally spend their millions, or even billions, right? But this common concept apparently doesn't apply to Berkshire Hathaway's CEO and chairman, Warren Buffett, popularly known as the Oracle of Omaha. He is seen as one of the most successful investors and top-ranked businessmen of all time, with a growing net worth of $85.6 billion as of this very moment. However, despite his insane amount of wealth, Warren Buffett is also literally notorious for being extremely frugal, that one who's met him for the very first time might not hardly believe he's one of the richest and most powerful individuals that keeps this world growing economically. Now, you might be asking, how then is he spending his wealth if he's so thrifty? Hello everyone, and welcome to 10 Zone, and in this video, we'll answer that question as we show you the things that Warren Buffett spends his fortune on that will surely surprise you. But before we dig into it, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe with the notification bell for future updates. Without further ado, let's get into the video. $31,500 home in Omaha, Nebraska. What else could be a better thing to buy other than a grand, extravagant billion-dollar home if you're more than capable of buying it, right? Well, you might expect Buffett to live on a sprawling estate with ocean views, worth tens of millions of dollars, and owns properties scattered across the country, considering his net worth. But newsflash, his house is fairly modest in Nebraska that he purchased for only $31,500 in 1958. This house is said to be the third best investment he has ever made when its value is cranked up to $652,619 by 2017. Berkshire Hathaway. For the record, Buffett's best decision that he may never regret his whole life must be purchasing not just a single share in Berkshire Hathaway, a company which started as a group of textile manufacturers in the late 1800s. He eventually became its biggest shareholder and took control of the company in the mid-1960s. Berkshire Hathaway then evolved into a holding company, which now is Buffett's greatest asset. $150,000 vacation home in Laguna Beach, California. Although he always emphasizes that he never had any desire of having multiple houses, Buffett did not dare miss the opportunity of purchasing a 3,500 square feet and 6-bedroom vacation home in Emerald Bay, a gated community in Laguna Beach, California, for $150,000 in 1971. It was officially put in the market for $11 million in 2017, but was only sold for $7.5 million in 2018. 2006 Cadillac DTS. In line to his penny-pinching and modest personality, Warren Buffett has been using an equally modest set of wheels as well, the Cadillac DTS 2006 model, which took him several years to replace. 2014 Cadillac XTS. Buffett finally decided to replace his previously owned 8-year-old Cadillac DTS in 2014. You might expect him to buy a Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, or Bentley, but apparently he opted for a much newer model of Cadillac, the Cadillac XTS. According to him, it was GM Mary Barra who convinced him to upgrade to a newer model after she highlighted all the features that he was missing out on by driving the older model. Wells Fargo. Praised by Buffett as one of his big four, Wells Fargo adds to the list of his most favorite companies, where he even had Berkshire Hathaway increase its holding in there by about 2% to 470.3 million shares in 2015. Buffett's relationship with the bank began in 1989, and he's gradually increasing his holdings since then. The most recent increase gives him a stinging 9.2% stake in the company. Car dealerships. He may not be fond of collecting cars, but it doesn't mean that he's not interested in investing in them. Apparently, Buffett already owns several shares of General Motors, one of his most favorite car brands, and 78 auto dealerships in 10 different states as of this moment. American Express. Being a risk-taker, Buffett's partnership with American Express dates back to the 1960s, when the company's shares were plummeting. He came on board and purchased his first stock at this crucial time, and it turned out that this was an immensely great investment. The company rebounded, outperforming the Standard & Poor 500 over the past 30 years, and as of the latest record, Berkshire Hathaway owned 14.2% of American Express at the end of 2013. Flip phone. While most people, even those at the average status, have traded in their flip phones for a smartphone, this multi-billionaire hasn't joined the crowd. During an interview in CNN in 2013, he proudly showed off his Nokia flip phone and even joked that it was the one that Alexander Graham Bell gave him. 20 Ordinary Suits by Madam Lee. Being the frugal person that he's known to be, Buffett has never been a fan of high-end designer suits. Apparently, he only owns 20 ordinary made-in-China suits, all crafted and designed by a Chinese designer, Madam Lee. His children's and late wife's foundation. Buffett is committed to giving away almost all his wealth by the time he dies. As a part of that plan, he makes a sizable contribution each year in the form of securities to his children's and his late wife's foundations. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In addition to making donations to his kids' foundations, Buffett also donates a considerable amount each year to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which focuses on improving education, health, and reducing poverty. In the last 8 years, the foundation has received a total of $15.2 billion from Buffett. $18 haircut. Wealthy individuals always stick to the prim and proper look. That's why hairstyling is an essential thing for them, even Warren Buffett. But unlike the typical rich man paying big bucks to get their hair styled and cut at posh salons, Buffett would just rather have his hair cut in his favorite local barbershop in Omaha, located in the same building as Berkshire Hathaway, for just $18. No more, no less. $3.17 breakfast meal at McDonald's. This top-ranked businessman isn't afraid to eat on the cheap when many people with far less wealth spend big bucks for a meal. Buffett once admitted in a CNBC interview that he eats like a 6-year-old child. And what 6-year-old doesn't enjoy a cheeseburger, fries, or almost anything on the McDonald's menu? According to him, he's a proud McDonald's cardholder, which basically lets him eat free at any of its restaurants in Omaha for the rest of his life. No wonder why his family had Christmas dinner at the restaurant in 2007. $3 to $41 meal at Gorat's Steakhouse. Aside from being a loyalist of McDonald's, Buffett is also a regular in Gorat's Steakhouse. Every single time that he dines in this resto, he just orders the same dish all the time, ranging from $3 to $41. 5 Coca-Colas per day. Buffett appoints himself as one of the Coca-Cola fan club. Of course, who doesn't enjoy an ice-cold Coke on a hot day, or on any day for that matter? In an interview, he even referred to himself as 1/4 Coca-Cola, but he wasn't referring to his stock holdings with the company, which by the way was 9%. Rather, he was talking about his love for the beverage. He drinks a total of 5 Cokes every day, or roughly 12-ounce servings. Well, if that's not a die-hard fan of Coke, then we don't know what is. Golf games in plain golf course. Compared to other CEOs, Buffett is not the type who spends a whole lot on his hobbies, except golf. He enjoys hitting the green once in a while to play some golf. But take note of this, despite his love of doing this hobby, he doesn't spend thousands of bucks on fancy golf clubs. Even if he's just playing in an artificially installed golf course, he really doesn't mind. Newspapers. Since Buffett is such a big-time reader, it probably comes as no surprise that his portfolio includes several newspaper companies. To date, Buffett owns more than 24 small and medium-sized newspapers. He recently added 2 more papers to his portfolio, the Martinville's Bulletin and the Franklin News Post in Rocky Mountain, Virginia. Books. Buffett is an avid reader, but this doesn't mean he spends his days buried in corporate financial reports. As a fan of nonfiction books and biographies, he told CNBC's Squawk Box co-host Becky Quick about his disgusting pile of books by his chair. "I just keep going at them, and I never get tired of reading," he said. Rappers are one of the most renowned people who make remarkable trends in the music industry. However, they are also quite notorious in applying all forms of gimmicks and stunts to amplify their music to their audience, and some viewers and anti-fans just have this different level of eye sharpness that they're able to notice even the tiniest bit of dirt that's present on not only rappers, but to whoever celebrity that might be. And one of these things these people put too much focus on celebrities, such as rappers, are things that they flex on screen. For this video, we'll be showing you a list of rappers who unfortunately got caught fake flexing. But before we dig into it, don't forget to hit the like button, share, and subscribe with the notification bell to get more entertaining videos, just like this one. Daniel Hernandez. The famous rapper Daniel Hernandez, aka Tekashi 69, or 6ix9ine, was proudly flexing his diamond necklace, claiming that it was real. But people from social media were fast to start rumors that it was actually a fake one. Daniel Hernandez felt provoked when he saw the news and posts circulating online and released a statement saying that he is in no way similar to those who wear anything fake. In order to clear this misunderstanding, Hernandez's party decided to have the necklace undergo an authenticity test through a diamond tester. To add fuel to the already gleaming fire, it turned out that other rappers also joined the crowd to figure out if their own diamonds too are fake or not. Thus, they also had theirs tested. During the testing, it was decided that in order to know the authenticity of the gem, the tester must be able to release a sound implying it is indeed real. Otherwise, it won't make any response at all. It was then found out that the jewelry of the other rappers who tested their diamonds together with Daniel Hernandez were proven to be both real and fake. Something that definitely shocked them. I mean, who wouldn't be shocked, right? After believing that you own a real diamond and it turns out that they're actually not, are you just going to stay cool about it? Anyhow, when it was Daniel's turn to test his necklace, the diamond tester didn't respond at all, which basically meant that it was fake. No matter how many times he tried to retest it again and again, results came back the same. However, Daniel's fans continued to support him by treating it as one of his pranks, which later on was confirmed by Daniel himself. But the question is it really a prank, or was he just trying to cover it up? GAZZY Garcia. Another rapper who just loves fake flexing his own accessories or jewelry is GAZZY Garcia, more popular by the name Lil Pump. Perhaps it's already a normal thing for rappers to always talk about the pricey and fancy items they have, right? And this dude is no different because he has a habit of showing everyone his expensive and genuine items. That's why it was a shame and quite shocking when reports about him getting caught buying fake jewelry at a shop called Paris Funk, which is known for being extremely cheap and a ripoff, for selling fake chains and even scamming people with their product prices. And just imagine how you'd feel if you get to see your favorite rappers like Lil Pump buying stuff from the store. Despite Lil Pump's explanations, too bad that he was already caught. The only thing he could do about it is just to be careful with all the flexing he does. SHAD Gregory Moss. SHAD Gregory Moss, also known as Lil Bow Wow, was once spotted flexing a photo of a luxurious private jet via Instagram with the caption that implies he was on his way to NYC to promote his show, Growing Up Hip Hop, until one fan found him sitting in a normal commercial plane. With the netizens' incredible investigative power, it was later found out that the photo posted by Bow Wow was actually taken from a website for a VIP transportation company. But unsurprisingly, Bow Wow denied the allegations thrown at him, both in social and mainstream media, and even defended his side by claiming that the photo of him inside the plane was actually an old one. This controversy sparked the Bow Wow Challenge, which exponentially spread in social media like wildfire. The challenge is basically about flexing lavish things, which in reality are only meant to deceive the audience. Michael Ray Stevenson. Michael Ray Stevenson, better known as Tyga, has done one of the most epic flexing to show his seemingly undying romance with his highly public ex-girlfriend, Kylie Jenner, from 2014 to 2017. Fans were quite fast to have figured out one possible reason as to why the two's relationship didn't last in a happily ever after kind of ending, because it was found out through an exclusive report that the $320,000 Ferrari that the rapper gave to Jenner, which meant to be a gift for her 18th birthday, was actually leased. And to make it worse, it was leased in Kylie Jenner's name. Yeah, literally mind-blowing, right? Christopher Maurice Brown. More popularly known by Chris Brown, this rapper has his own share of bad luck, despite the positive fame he has garnered for producing top chart albums. He was once reported for physically assaulting his ex-girlfriend Rihanna, and the case lasted for quite some time before it was finally settled. But aside from this, he went viral over the internet when he called out Kodak Black when the latter released a video that allegedly used fake money. DeAndre Cortez WAY. Better known as Soulja Boy, this rapper was one of the most prominent rappers that was at the peak of his career in the music industry in the early 2000s, But since then, he wasn't very much active in producing music that fit the contemporary style of his audiences. Thus, the decline of his fame. Knowing this, many fans are thinking that Soulja Boy is still living through his royalties from his long previous success. The post he took to Instagram certainly shocked many when he flexed his purchase of a $6 million penthouse and even took his fans for a virtual tour of the entire penthouse, which allegedly has 10 bathrooms, never missing a single important detail of the house. But since, according to Isaac Newton, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, his bragging quickly brought him a nightmare when he was busted for fake flexing the penthouse. It was found out that the place was in fact an Airbnb, and if the property was to be put on the market, its value would be $3.5 million, not $6 million. Robert Ross. The last entry on our list is Robert Ross, also known as Kodak Black, who was mortifyingly exposed by Chris Brown for flexing fake cash in his video and in an Instagram live video. In all fairness, he was able to handle it by telling the truth and with all the humbleness, saying that he had no money to flex in the first place, instead of going around corners to find excuses and lies to defend himself. And that wraps up our compilation of rappers who got caught fake flexing. So what do you think? Are there any other rappers that we forgot to mention? Criminal mastermind movies do not just conclude without enacting cases involving heists. And let's not deny the fact that the way that these crimes are portrayed in our favorite movies strangely play a great factor in adding spice and overwhelming amount of excitement to them, right? The way robbers meticulously plan out the crime, the jaw-dropping instances of seeing the enormous amount of money and other possessions that robbers lay their hands on, the moments of frustrating brawls between authorities and the criminals, and the mind-blowing execution of robbers in finding unbelievable escapes and breakouts are just some scenes that hold our breath unintentionally. We may only see how impressive they are on screen, but some of the most legendary heist films root from intriguing real-life scenarios and events, even from centuries ago. And as technology advances, the gimmicks and ploys that robbers make use of also have adapted to infiltrate the tighter and more rigid security settings, perhaps proving how stinkingly skillful robbers tend to be. Hello everyone, and welcome to 10 Zone. In this video, we'll be seeing the 5 most impressive heists that history is able to record. But before we get to the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future updates. Number 5. The French Termite Tunnel. Apparently regarded as France's crime of the century, which took place in 2010, the Termites Tunnel gave a huge blow to the French media when news of a bank heist in the historic Credit Lyonnais woke everyone up in the dawn of the 31st of March. According to reports, at least 22 million pounds of cash and jewelry were stolen after 200 safe boxes were emptied. What makes this heist impressive is the fact that this amount of money and jewelry was stolen only by 4 men who reportedly were wise enough to gain vault access through digging in a neighborhood cellar. It was also appalling that the gang was able to break through the cellar walls without creating any noise and vibrations, which suspectedly went on for several days without getting noticed by security. Investigation by the police also pointed out that breaking the vaults open were leisurely done based on how neat they were, and no signs of rushed blast was seen, which made them conclude that the gang was using pickaxes and flamethrowers to break the 31-inch walls of the vaults for several hours. These termite-like robbers made sure to destroy pieces of potential evidence by setting off sprinklers in the basement, which almost left the police with no proof. Number 4. The Train Robbery of 1963. If you think that robbing a train is impossible, well, apparently, on August 8th of 1963, a group of 15 thieves proved to the public that heists can happen anywhere and in any time, and even if it's in a moving train. After ambushing a train heading from Glasgow to London, the gang successfully manipulated the train's track signal in order for it to stop in a completely remote location. This heist was surprisingly executed smoothly by unarmed robbers who literally did the job barehandedly. But according to reports, they managed to knock out the train driver before escaping with over 2.6 million pounds, which is approximately equivalent to $61 million as of today's worth. They escaped into a hideout which later was unfortunately found out by the police, and while most members of the gang were prosecuted, the money stolen had never been recovered and returned to the rightful owners. The most impressive and shocking thing about this heist is the fact that although the masterminds of the heist were sentenced to a 30-year life of imprisonment, some of them were surprisingly placed in a pedestal after committing a heinous crime, such as Bruce Napoleon Reynolds, who worked as a consultant for a movie that was released in 1988 and eventually published a book in 1995 entitled The Autobiography of a Thief, The Man Behind the Great Train Robbery. Number 3. The Collar Bomb Bank Robbery. Typical heists that we normally know of are those involving robbers wearing awfully decorated masks, dark-colored bonnets, and long rifles across their chests. But this heist we'll be dealing with next is so unique that we can't just leave it out of our list. On the 23rd of August, 2003, a middle-aged pizza delivery man by the name of Brian Wells walked into a PNC bank in Erie, Pennsylvania, not with rifles or sharp knives in the hands, but with a ticking bomb locked around his neck. Although this robber was more immense than the usual ones, it was quite evident that Wells was not made for the job. What kind of diabolic robber would pass a teller a note saying, quote, "Gather employees with access to codes to vault work fast to fill bag with $250,000. You have 15 minutes," end quote, instead of just screaming at everybody at the top of his lungs to induce terror. Anyhow, he fled after getting the money handed to him, but unfortunately was caught by the state troopers after 15 minutes. It was at this moment that the other side of the coin was tossed, when Wells screamed that he was forced to do the heist and that the bomb around his neck was about to go off. The disposal squad was not even just 5 minutes late when the bomb started beeping and blew up, blasting Wells violently onto his back and ripping a 5-inch gash in his chest. When further investigation was conducted, a 2-foot-long cane, which turned out to be an ingeniously crafted homemade gun, was found in the bomber's car. The bomb itself was likewise a marvel of DIY design and construction, and investigators could tell that it had been built using professional tools. The tale only gets stranger from here when it led investigators to the dead bodies hidden in freezers. This is absolutely not just an impressive heist, but also a terrifying one. Number 2. Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum Heist. Museums are also notorious location for heists, next to banks because of the extremely valuable possessions housed in them apparently. This can be attested by the event which took place on March 18, 1990, when 2 thieves dressed as Boston police officers entered the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum and stole 13 works of art while the entire city of Boston celebrated St. Patrick's Day. The stolen and missing work, estimated roughly at $500 million total, were intended for a permanent display of the museum and was originally procured by art collector Isabella Stewart Gardner. No arrest and no work have been recovered, making it as one of the most impressive unsolved mysteries in American crime. But the FBI believes that the robbery was planned by a criminal organization, considering how flawless it was. Although the hunch was highly strong on the authorities' side, the case lacked strong physical evidence. They primarily have put focus on the Boston Mafia, which was in the midst of an internal gang war during the period, while other accounts suggest that the paintings were stolen by a gang in Dorchester, though they have strongly denied involvement even after a sting operation put some of them in prison. All have denied any knowledge or have given leads that were fruitless, despite being offered reward money, reduced prison sentences, and even freedom if they gave information leading to the recovery of the art. The museum is offering the largest bounty ever offered by a private institution of $10 million reward of the information leading to the recovery of the art. Number 1. Millennium Dome Raid. Where else can you conduct heists other than places packed with expensive items and a go-to of highly notable and wealthy individuals, right? This final heist in our expose happened in 2000 when London had finished the construction on catastrophic waste of money known as the Millennium Dome, the famous Millennium Dome Raid. The heist was basically an attempted robbery of the Millennium Dome's diamond exhibition, which occurred on November 7, 2000 in Greenwich, southeast London. The local robbers planned to ram raid the De Beers diamond exhibition with an explosive smash and guns blazing to seize items on display, including the Millennium Star, a flawless 203.04 carat gem with an estimated worth of £200 million and considered as one of the most perfect gems in the world, an escape by Thames in speedboat. Unluckily for the robbers, their close-to-perfection plan was averted by the flying squad of the Metropolitan Police Service, who had coincidentally had them under surveillance for a few armored car robberies. The operation to foil the robbery was the biggest operation undertaken in the flying squad's history, and at trial, the judge in the case condemned the way it was carried out. If it turned out differently and the robbery heist had succeeded, then it would have become one of the biggest robberies in history, with a haul of £350 million worth of diamonds. So what do you think of the 5 most impressive heists of all time? With the continuously growing number of people choosing to live in small spaces around the globe, maybe now is the time to conclude that living large is officially a thing in the past. Surveys say that some people opt to live small for economic freedom, while others just take up a huge step in terms of lifestyle changes. Whatever the reason is, settling down in a tiny house is definitely more than just a trend. But choosing to live in a downscaled residence doesn't always mean that its design, style, form, and overall configuration must also be downscaled, right? And we have proof of that in this video as we gather these exciting 10 tiny homes that will surely blow your mind. These houses all turned out to be so perfect that you'll be left wanting to move in them ASAP. Hello everyone, and welcome to 10 Zone. Before we kick it off, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel with the notification bell to get updated for future videos. Without further ado, let's jump into it. The Transforming Truck Castle. Have you ever heard of this aphorism? A person's home is their own castle. Apparently, as houses on wheels now become a trend, this tiny truck home in New Zealand virtually transforms into a sojourning mini-medieval fortress when parked. At first glance, you can hardly believe that this tiny house is indeed a truck, unless you witness how it is unfurled. This tiny abode completely lives up to being a sustainable home because it primarily consumes solar energy than the non-renewable fuel. Every portion of this house has its own major purposes, like the two turrets at the rear, where the left tower conceals a compositing toilet, while the right tower houses the shower and the washing machine. The Schoolies. Aside from having truck conversions as an alternative to typical RVs, school bus conversions have also now become a popular thing. Consider how this 66-seat yellow bus has been hacked into a custom motorhome, which now makes it part of those moving residents called Schoolies. Retired school buses like this one are seemingly inexpensive to buy, and with just a few touches of house-building skills, this retired vehicle turned out to be an amazing home you can brag to anyone. This Schoolie lets you feel the comfort of being in a static house, as it has what a normal house needs too, such as furniture, full-sized appliances, a cozy sleeping loft, a kitchen, shower room, and many others. In owning a Schoolie, you can always have your imagination do the work to improve it even better anytime you want. The Silo House. Who would have thought that inside this silo house is a chic, tiny urban home? Located in the Garfield Historic District of Phoenix, Arizona, this sleek and modern dwelling abode, personally built by the owner and architect himself, Christoph Kaiser, stands so proud that it would literally leave random passerby in great awe and jealousy. Originally purchased as a small grain silo that fitted in the back of his truck from Kansas, the architect was able to transform this into a jaw-dropping two-story home and even got featured in local magazines. The home features an open floor plan, and its wood surfaces that conceal cabinetries are made from scrap walnut plank flooring that he was able to buy for only $350. The bedroom, located in the second floor, unbelievably has a built-in motorized skylight that floods the room with sunlight when opened. Egg-shaped pod. There are countless out-of-this-world house designs and concepts that prove how creative and imaginative people can be. However, only a very few of them are successfully realized, and this eco-capsule is proudly one of them. This solar-powered low-energy mobile dwelling egg-shaped home can host 2 adult residents comfortably without any space difficulties. It features a built-in kitchenette with completely functional running water. Despite its tiny size, the pod structure unbelievably managed to house toilet and shower rooms, aside from the cozy folding loft and wide storage spaces for other miscellaneous tools and sporting equipment. As of this very moment, you could purchase one of these pods for at least $90,000. The WOHNWAGEN. Another proud tiny house on wheels that could set you off the grid and live rent-free for as long as you want is the WOHNWAGEN, a self-sufficient mobile home that could come in many forms. Although the area of this house is basically just enough for 2 people to live in, it's able to house a single bedroom, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a sufficient lounge. The most mind-blowing built-in feature of this tiny abode is its green roof that has both a catch basin for harvesting rain and a wide array of solar panels to fuel the electric devices inside the house. The WOHNWAGEN's exterior is undeniably elegant, with wooden cover, with a detachable elegant stair that perfectly complements the dwelling home. The Mini Motives House. If what you're looking for is a small and sustainable living space for you and your kids, then this tiny iconic house designed by architect Macy Miller as her very own abode might just be perfect for a perfect model for you. Macy, in creating this 196 square foot piece of art, started constructing the Mini Motives in 2011 exactly for just $11,416 and was even featured in media like Time and Dwell magazine. The home's interior features a humble lounge that welcomes you as you stand in the entrance. It also has several storage spaces and a working desk that could serve as the dining table, a bedroom that fosters very well-arranged cabinetries, and mattresses to maximize the small space. A galley-style kitchen that has 4-burner stovetop, an oven, and a deep double sink. Basically, this tiny house, despite its size, is doing a very good job in serving its purpose, to be a home of comfort and mortgage-free life. Earth Shelter Home. This home might be more familiar to most of you as a hobbit house. Yes, the ones that are literally constructed underground, commonly found in the villages of New Zealand, although other regions and countries around the world have been adapting to this form of living space. Normally, this type of house is curvilinear to assure stability, and as the record says, this house can be made just within a span of 3 consecutive days. However, building a hobbit house requires a pretty large amount of money and a lot of extra work to perfectly mold and make them water resistant. If you get to live in this house, expect to experience warm winters and cool summers without even using artificial heaters and coolers. The Half-Half House. If you're in the market for a newly built tiny home, you typically have 2 choices. You could buy a professionally made one that will run around $200 to $400 per square foot, or you could construct it yourself for considerably less, just like this Half-Half House, designed and built by Monarch Tiny Homes, that joins the House on Wheels squad yet again. The $22,000 dwelling abode comes with complete exterior unfinished interior that allows the owner to customize the inside look any way they want, even just on their own. The most interesting part of this tiny home might just be sleeping in the loft situated right under the ceiling, which allows the residents to enjoy the midnight skies that can be seen through the crystal clear window. The Quaint Cabin. This quaint cabin, situated between Stowe and Smuggler's Notch, Vermont, is too cute and beautiful, especially during the winter. The design of this chalet-inspired structure actually dates back to 1934, when architect R.M. Schindler designed a California cabin in the same shape. This cabin is just similar to a normal one, with a fireplace, a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, and a comfort and shower room, but only more downscaled than the average cabins. Its exterior, though, is what makes this stand out, aside from its unusually tiny size, because during the warm seasons, it simply appears like an old brown wooden house, but totally transforms during the winter into a vibrant reddish mahogany color that makes it difficult for you to not look and stare at it in awe. The BINISHELLS. Can you believe that these tiny dome-shaped homes are built for only $3,500? These homes went against the odds when they were constructed, using a process that's highly similar to the method of making papier-mâché balloon base. In this case, concrete is poured over a heavy-duty air pump bladder and steel rebar framework. Next, the bladder is deflated to reveal a tiny, resilient home that can stand up to extreme conditions such as earthquakes, high winds, or even lava flows. These extraordinary homes, although average in terms of the interior, are originally used for emergency shelters and temporary structures, such as auxiliary school classrooms. But recent years have seen BINISHELLS adopted by the tiny house crowd already. So what do you think of the 10 tiny homes that will blow your mind? Which of these homes impressed you the most? Celebrities are notorious for taking things to the next level. From high-end perfume brands, top-notch apparels, stellar vacation getaways, and even up to world-class luxury cars that others can only dream of. And apparently, as the cost of real estate skyrockets over the years, purchasing opulent properties don't get to be a problem for most celebrities, especially those who belong to the highest part of the economic pyramid, or the 1%. Some of them even treat this chance to live like royalty in a grand estate with amenities that might just make royalty blush. Hello everyone, and welcome to 10 Zone. And in this video, we'll be looking at the 10 most expensive homes of famous actors. But before we get into it, please show your support by hitting that thumbs up button. Share, subscribe with the notification bell for future 10 Zone videos. Without further ado, let's get into the video. George Clooney, $100 million. Rumors about George Clooney's plan of putting Villa Oleandra, his estate in Laglio, Italy, to the market has been cleared out during his interview with The Hollywood Reporter. This stinging $100 million home was constructed way back in the 18th century on the magnificent banks of Lake Como. Over the years, and up to this day, the home has been transformed into a perfect mix of its original charm and all the modern amenities one would expect in an extremely extravagant house with that kind of price tag. The grounds are equally spectacular, with their scenic view of perfectly designed landscape gardens, an outdoor pool, several tennis courts, a garage for the actor's massive collection of motorcycles, and an outdoor theater. If you want to know what your $100 million can do, then this might be it. Jay-Z and Beyonce, $88 million. With Jay-Z and Beyonce's combined net worth, they were able to invest in this $88,000 million home. Originally, this 2-acre Bel Air compound had an asking price of a ringing $135 million, with amenities and structures that are certainly worth the extravagant price. This estate is basically not your typical big shot property because the entire area is daringly comprised of 6 separate structures, including a 30,000 square foot main house, which fosters a total of 8 bedrooms and 11 bathrooms, a gaming/entertainment building, which houses an indoor spa and a basketball court among others, an exclusive fitness center, and a 15-car garage for their wide car collection, as well as 4 massive infinity pools. This estate also boasts a helipad, bulletproof windows, a custom staircase made from exotic wood featuring stone steps lined with brown leather, 40-foot ceilings in the main living space, and sliding glass walls that can completely recede to open the interior up to the huge patio and lawn. With these extremely stellar amenities of a home, spending $88 million is literally more than worth it. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, $80 million. Despite the couple's shocking divorce back in 2016 and an announcement of being legally separated in 2019, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie still hold one of the most expensive celebrity homes for the record. The couple, which was then known as Brangelina, bought Chateau Miraval, a castle skirted by a vast vineyard in the south of France, for the equivalent of $67 million in 2008. As of today, the property's worth could be equated to approximately $80 million. The main house reportedly has a total of 35 rooms, a built-in helipad, indoor and outdoor infinity pools, an entertainment and leisure room, a video game room, a personal home theater, and many other standard millionaire home structures and amenities. Aside from the stunning interior, the luxury of the home proudly extends outside, as it has a dirt bike course, a chateau garden that includes a 200-yard olive tree, a moat, something that a typical good castle just cannot have. The vineyard supports Miraval Wines, which produces highly coveted rosé. Kim Kardashian, $60 million. Kardashians are highly regarded as one of the most extravagant and wealthiest public figures there is. And Kim, being of this prominent clan, can't just miss out to own a luxurious home among other priced possessions that would mirror her status. Together with her life partner, Kanye West, though the relationship is now questionable, she purchased the pricey mansion, which proudly sits next to those owned by other famous stars, including fellow members of her clan in Hollywood's Hidden Hills. The house apparently used to originally belong to Elvis Presley's only child, Lisa Marie Presley. The couple bought the sprawling property for a price tag of $20 million, but quickly began sinking tens of millions of dollars into it to officially and exclusively make it their own. In 2019, the home was appraised at $60 million, which certainly proved to the multi-millionaire couple that it's an investment that will never go to waste. Tom Cruise, $59 million. Being a highly notable actor, Tom Cruise deserves the luxurious life that he has now as his fruits of labor. And among his luxury that he enjoys is possessing a spanning 298 acres just outside Telluride, Colorado. Standing proud in this land is the actor's extravagantly humble 10,000 square foot abode, which includes a jaw-dropping floor-to-ceiling windows in the living room, allowing for panoramic views of the mountains that will definitely be your go-to area every time you're stressed out. Cedar timbers flank the walls and ceilings, while native stone was used to create a magnificent fireplace. Aside from these, you'll also find amenities such as a home gym, recording room, and library filled with books from floor to ceiling. Outside of the house are private trail system, lighted basketball, tennis, and hockey courts, a private motocross track, and a quaint 1,600 square foot guest house with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Will and Jada Smith, $49.7 million. This 25,000 square foot home that sits on 150 acres in Malibu, featured in the September 2011 issue of Architectural Digest, is apparently one of Will and Jada's prized possessions. Described as a spiritual endeavor, this spectacular house is primarily built by hand. With a total of 9 bedrooms, there is also a state-of-the-art recording studio, a meditation room, a humongous lake or pond-like pool, a basketball and tennis court, 3 golf holes, a large pasture, and a lake with a gazebo. There's really no shortage of little extras in this $49.7 million home. Demi Moore, $47.4 million. Demi's NYC triplets still managed to grab a spot on this list, despite being put into the market because it's totally an outstanding property. This floating mansion had an asking price of $75 million when it was first announced to be put on sale in 2015. The 7,000 square foot triplex penthouse includes 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms and is located in the historic San Romeo complex. And as grand as its price is, the amenities and facilities that are covered in this penthouse is also reasonably grand, such as the projection room, elaborate plaster ceiling moldings, fireplace accentuated with turquoise tile, and the 1,500 square foot stone terrace that wraps almost completely around the building's top tower. Cindy Crawford, $47 million. Cindy Crawford placed her beachfront Malibu compound on the market for $60 million. However, the price appeared to plummet by $10 million, because reports say that it could be purchased now for $50 million. This mesmerizing hacienda-style villa that was first built in 1944 is situated on 3 acres of land overlooking the Pacific Ocean and was recently renovated in order to house a total of 4 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. The home features walls of sliding glass doors and a wraparound deck with a fire pit and a pool that brings the outdoors in. Mel Gibson, $29.8 million. Among all the luxury properties that Mel Gibson owns, it's his Costa Rican hideaway that makes this list. This 500-acre property is proudly referred to as Playa Barrigona by the actor himself, for it boasts over 2 miles of pristine beachfront, 3 houses skirted by hundreds of acres of jungle that's home to a variety of wildlife. Among these houses is the main coral stone constructed abode, which reportedly has 7 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms, and features meticulously crafted ornate stone carvings, Italian and Spanish tiles, and balconies overlooking the courtyard, infinity pool, an open-air dining room, and commercial kitchen below it. The other 2 houses include everything you could ever need in a home, including their own private pools. Jennifer Lopez, $28 million. Houses might just really be great investments. Apparently, this can be proven with JLo's 41,000 square foot Bel Air mansion that was out on the market for a ringing $40 million, despite purchasing it for a mere $28 million in 2016. The 7-bedroom and 13-bathroom home that features 10 carved wood or stone fireplaces, floor-to-ceiling windows, and a vaulted ceiling in the main living room, a downstairs pub, a 30-seat screening room, and a stone-accented kitchen topped with skylights that was constructed and designed by the world-renowned architect Samuel Marks in 1940. The outside of this extravagant house is just as spectacular, with 2 guest houses, an infinity pool situated in a grand terrace, and a mini golf course. And voila! So what do you think of the 10 most expensive homes of famous actors? Did we miss an actor on our list? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you're new to 10 Zone, give us a thumbs up, as it helps us out a lot. Share, subscribe with the notification bell for future videos. Until next time.